January 18, 1997, Saturday night, 3:27 a.m. Brooklyn. Biggie's apartment, St. James Place. The same building he grew up in. 3rd floor. 3 bedrooms. He's lying in bed. Faith Evans sleeping beside him. But Biggie's awake. Has been awake for hours. Staring at the ceiling. Mind racing. Can't shut it off. Can't stop thinking. Can't stop seeing it. The news footage. The hospital. The funeral. Tupac Shakur. Dead. 4 months ago. September 13th. 1996. Shot in Las Vegas. Died 6 days later. 25 years old. Gone. And Biggie can't sleep. Hasn't slept properly in weeks. Every time he closes his eyes, he sees Tupac. Not the angry Tupac from Hit 'Em Up. Not the death row Tupac calling him out. The other Tupac. The one Biggie knew before everything went wrong. The one who used to crash on his couch. The one who talked about changing the world. The one who was his friend before he became his enemy. The beef killed him. Biggie knows this. Everyone knows this. Tupac got shot in Las Vegas because of the war. The East Coast versus West Coast war. The bad boy versus death row war. The war that started with a robbery and escalated into hatred and ended with a body. Tupac's body, in a casket, while his mother Afeni stood over him crying, while the whole world watched, while Biggie stayed in New York because going to LA felt like signing his own death warrant. But Tupac's dead, and the beef feels hollow now, feels stupid, feels like a waste. What did they win? What did all the diss tracks accomplish? What did the threats, and the posturing, and the picking sides achieve? Tupac's dead. That's what they achieved. A 25-year-old revolutionary poet shot to death in Las Vegas. Over what? Over pride? Over loyalty? Over a robbery Biggie had nothing to do with? Over a beef that got out of control and consumed everything? Biggie sits up. Can't lie down anymore. Too much energy. Too much guilt. Too much weight. He gets out of bed carefully. Doesn't want to wake Faith. She's been worried about him. About his mood. About the nightmares. About the way he stares into space. About the way he flinches at loud noises. About the way he stopped being Biggie and started being Christopher again. Scared Christopher. Guilty Christopher. Christopher who knows he's next. He walks to the living room. Sits on the couch. The same couch Tupac used to sleep on. Back in 93, 94. Before the shooting. Before the accusations. Before everything turned to poison. Tupac would crash here when he was in New York. They'd stay up all night talking. About music. About revolution. About changing hip-hop. About mastering. About leaving a legacy. And now Tupac's legacy is a bullet-riddled body and a mother burying her son. Biggie picks up the phone, puts it down, picks it up again. It's 3:37 in the morning. Too late to call anyone. Too late to bother anyone. But he needs to call someone. Needs to do something. Needs to fix something that can't be fixed. Needs to help somehow. Even if it doesn't matter. Even if it doesn't bring Tupac back. Needs to do something that isn't just sitting here drowning in guilt. He dials. The phone rings. Once, twice, 3 times, 4, 5. Voicemail. Biggie hangs up. Tries another number. This one he knows by heart. His accountant, Marcus Chen. Been managing Biggie's money for 3 years. Handles everything. Investments, taxes, payments, everything. Marcus's phone rings 6 times. 7, 8. Finally picks up. Hello? Marcus's voice is groggy, confused, worried. Nobody calls at 3:45 a.m. with good news. Marcus, it's me. It's Big. Biggie's voice is quiet, careful. Doesn't want to wake Faith in the bedroom. Big? What's wrong? What happened? You okay? Marcus is waking up, alert, thinking emergency, thinking crisis. I'm fine. I'm okay. I just need to ask you something. Need to do something. And it can't wait. Biggie leans forward, elbows on his knees, head in his free hand. Can you set up an anonymous donation? Like a real anonymous donation? No names. No paper trail. Nothing that comes back to me. Silence on the other end. Marcus processing. How much are we talking about? $250,000. Biggie says it like it's nothing. Like it's $20. Like it's pocket change. But it's not. It's $250,000. It's serious money. It's the kind of money that requires explanation. $250,000. Marcus repeats it, making sure he heard right. Who's it going to? Biggie pauses. This is the part that's going to sound crazy. This is the part that's going to make Marcus think he's lost his mind. Tupac Shakur's estate, his family, his mother, Afeni, for funeral costs, for debts, for whatever they need. Silence. Long silence. Marcus is definitely awake now. Big, are you serious? Dead serious. I need this done. I need it done so nobody knows it came from from me. Nobody. Not Afeni. Not Death Row. Not Bad Boy. Not Puffy. Nobody. Can you do that? Big, if this gets out. Marcus's voice is worried, thinking about consequences, thinking about optics, thinking about what happens if the world finds out the notorious Big sent $250,000 to Tupac Shakur's family. It won't get out. That's why I'm calling you. Because you're good at this. Because you know how to move money quietly. I need this done right. I need this done so it can't be traced back to me. Can you do it? Biggie's voice is firm. This isn't a request. This is a need. This is something that has to happen. Marcus sighs. Yeah, I can do it. I can set up a shell company. Move the money through a third party. Make it look like it came from an anonymous donor. But Big, why? Why are you doing this? Because that's somebody's son. Biggie's voice cracks, emotion breaking through. That's somebody's child. That's somebody's baby. And I know what it's like to have a mother worry about you. I know what it's like to have a mother who would die for you. And Afeni buried her son. She buried her 25-year-old son. Because of a beef. Because of our beef. Because this whole East Coast, West Coast bullshit got out of control and somebody died. And I can't bring him back. I can't fix it. I can't undo it. But I can help. I can make sure his family doesn't struggle. I can make sure his mother has what she needs. That's the least I can do. That's the only thing I can do. Marcus is quiet, processing, understanding. Okay, I'll set it up. It'll take a few days, maybe a week, but I'll make it anonymous. I'll make it clean. Nobody will know. Thank you. Biggie's voice is thick, grateful, relieved. And Marcus? I'm serious. Nobody can know. Not now. Not ever. You take this to your grave. You understand? I understand. I won't tell anyone. You have my word. Marcus means it. This is the kind of secret you keep. This is the kind of thing that matters more than money. Good. Thank you. I'm sorry I woke you up. Biggie starts to hang up. Big, wait. Marcus stops him. For what it's worth, this is a good thing you're doing. A really good thing. It's not enough, but it's something. Biggie hangs up, sits on the couch, stares at the phone. $250,000. $250,000. Won't bring Tupac back. Won't end the beef. Won't fix anything. But maybe it'll help Afeni sleep one night without worrying about bills. Maybe it'll help pay for something Tupac would have wanted. Maybe it'll mean something. Even if nobody knows. Especially if nobody knows. Biggie goes back to bed, lies down next to Faith, closes his eyes, and for the first time in weeks, he sleeps. Not well, not peacefully, but he sleeps because he did something, because he helped, because guilt is still guilt, but at least now it's guilt with action, guilt with purpose, guilt trying to make amends. January 24th, 1997. 6 days later, Marcus Chin sits in his office, Manhattan, Midtown, 40th floor, view of the city. He's set up everything. Shell company registered in Delaware, third-party transfer agent, anonymous donation structure, clean, professional, untraceable. The money is ready to move. $250,000 from Christopher Wallace to Afeni Shakur. But Afeni will never know it came from Christopher. She'll just know someone cared, someone helped, someone anonymous sent $250,000 to help with her son's estate. Marcus picks up the phone, dials, the number connects. Transfer agent picks up. This is Marcus Chen, account number 7743. I'm authorizing the transfer we discussed. $250,000 to the Tupac Amaru Shakur Foundation. Anonymous donor. Process it today. Confirmed. Transfer will complete within 24 hours. Receipt will go to the foundation. No donor information included. Perfect. Thank you. Marcus hangs up, sits back in his chair, stares out the window. $250,000. Biggest anonymous donation he's ever processed. Strangest donation he's ever processed. The notorious Big secretly sending money to his dead rival's family. If this ever gets out, it'll change everything. It'll change how people see the beef, how people see Biggie, how people see hip-hop. But it won't get out because Marcus gave his word, and Marcus keeps his word. January 26, 1997, Los Angeles. Afeni Shakur's home. She's sitting at her kitchen table. Bills spread out. Funeral expenses, hospital bills, legal fees, Tupac's debts, his contracts, his obligations. Everything falling on her. Everything her responsibility now. She's drowning in paperwork, drowning in grief, drowning in the impossible task of settling her son's estate while trying to process that her son is gone. The phone rings. She almost doesn't answer. Too tired, too overwhelmed. But she answers. Hello? MS. Shakur, this is David Kensington. I'm with the Tupac Amaru Shakur Foundation. I'm calling to inform you that we've received a substantial donation. Anonymous. $250,000. Designated for estate expenses and foundation operations. Afeni stops breathing. I'm sorry. What? $250,000. Anonymous donor. Wire transfer came through this morning. It's legitimate. It's real. I wanted to inform you immediately. Who sent it? Afeni's voice is shaking. $250,000. That covers everything. That solves everything. That changes everything. We don't know. The donation was structured to be completely anonymous. The donor specifically requested no identification, no acknowledgement, just wanted to help. David's voice is professional but kind. He understands this is overwhelming. Someone just sent us $250,000 and doesn't want credit, doesn't want thanks, doesn't want anything? Afeni can't process this. It doesn't make sense. People don't do this. Especially not for her. Especially not now. Especially not after everything. Yes, ma'am. That's correct. The donor wanted to remain anonymous. Wanted to help without recognition. We tried to trace it, but it's completely clean. Completely untraceable. Whoever did this made sure we'd never know. Afeni starts crying. Can't help it. Can't stop it. Relief flooding through her. Gratitude overwhelming her. Please, if there's any way to find out who this is, please try. I need to thank them. I need them to know what this means. We'll try, Miss Shakur, but I don't think we'll succeed. This was set up by someone who knew exactly what they were doing. Someone who wanted to help but wanted to stay hidden. David pauses. But Miss Shakur, whoever they are, they cared about Tupac. They cared enough to do this. That's what matters. Afeni hangs up, sits at her kitchen table, stares at the bills. $250,000. From someone anonymous. From someone who cared. From someone who wanted to help. She'll never know who. Never know why. Never get to say thank you. But someone out there somewhere did this. Someone loved her son enough to help even after he was gone. Even when there was nothing to gain. Even when nobody would know. She tells a few people. Close friends. Family. Someone sent money. A lot of money. Anonymous. Nobody knows who. Theories float. Maybe a record label. Maybe a wealthy fan. Maybe someone from Tupac's past. But nobody guesses Biggie. Nobody thinks the notorious Biggie would send money to his dead rival's family. That's too crazy. Too impossible. Too contrary to everything the beef represented. March 9th, 1997. Christopher Wallace is shot and killed in Los Angeles. 4 bullets. Chest, shoulder, hip, abdomen. Rushed to Cedars-Sinai. Pronounced dead at 1:15 a.m. 24 years old. The notorious Biggie gone. The same way Tupac went. Shot in a vehicle. In a city far from home. Because of a beef that consumed everything. Marcus Chin hears the news at 5 a.m. New York time. Gets a call from Bad Boy. Biggie's dead. Shot in L.A. Marcus hangs up. Sits in his apartment. Cries. Not just because his client died. Because his friend died. Because Christopher died. Because the man who sent $250,000 to his enemy's family 2 months ago is now dead too. Shot the same way. In the same city. By the same violence. The beef killed them both. Tupac in September. Biggie in March. 6 months apart. Both 20-something. Both gone. Both mothers burying their sons. And Marcus carries a secret. A secret Biggie made him promise to keep. A secret about $250,000. A secret about humanity in the middle of war. A secret about Christopher Wallace being more than Biggie Smalls. Being more than the beef. Being more than the image. Being someone who cared. Who felt guilty. Who tried to help. Even if nobody knew. Especially if nobody knew. Marcus keeps the secret for 18 years. Doesn't tell anyone. Not his wife. Not his family. Not journalists who call asking about Biggie's finances. Not documentarians making films. Not writers writing books. The secret stays locked. The way Biggie wanted. The way Marcus promised. 2015. Marcus Chin is 57 years old. And he's dying. Pancreatic cancer. Stage 4. Doctors give him 3 months. Maybe 4. Maybe less. He's in his apartment. Manhattan. Same place he's lived for 20 years. Putting his affairs in order. Closing accounts. Writing letters. Saying goodbye. And he thinks about the secret. About Biggie. About Tupac. About $250,000 that nobody knows about. About a gesture of humanity that died with Christopher Wallace. about something that should be known, that deserves to be known. That changes the narrative. That changes how people understand the beef, how people understand Biggie, how people understand that even in the middle of war, there was still humanity, still compassion, still guilt, still love. Marcus calls a journalist, Teray, someone he trusts, someone who covers hip-hop with respect, someone who will tell the story right. I have something to tell you about Biggie, about Tupac, about something that happened in '97 that nobody knows about. But I'm dying, and this can't die with me. They meet. Marcus tells the story. All of it. The 3 a.m. phone call. The $250,000. The anonymous donation. Afeni receiving it. The secret. The promise. 18 years of silence. And now, with months to live, Marcus breaking that silence. Biggie sent Tupac's family money. Nobody knew. Afeni never knew. The world never knew. But it happened, and it matters. And people should know that Christopher Wallace was more than the beef, more than the rivalry, more than the image. He was human. He felt guilt. He tried to help, even when nobody would know, especially when nobody would know. Teray writes the article. November 2015. The secret Biggie kept. How the notorious B.I.G. secretly donated $250,000 to Tupac's family. The story goes viral. Millions read it. Social media explodes. People can't believe it. Some don't believe it. Call it fake. Call it propaganda. Call it revisionist history. But others understand. Others see the humanity. Others see that Biggie was complex, was conflicted, was guilty, was trying to make amends in the only way he knew how. Afeni Shakur is contacted. Journalists ask, "Did you receive an anonymous donation in January '97? She pauses, remembers. "Yes, we did. $250,000. We never knew who sent it. It was Biggie, the notorious B.I.G. He sent it 2 months before he died." Afeni goes silent, starts crying. "Christopher sent that?" Her voice breaks. "All these years, I wondered who cared that much, who loved Tupac that much. And it was Christopher." She releases a statement. "If this is true, if Christopher Wallace sent that money, then I'm grateful. I'm grateful beyond words. Not just for the money, for the gesture, for the humanity, for showing that even in the middle of all that darkness, all that beef, all that hatred, there was still love, there was still compassion, there was still someone who cared about a mother burying her son. I wish I could have thanked him. I wish I could have told him it mattered. But he's gone. They're both gone. And all I can do now is say, thank you, Christopher. Thank you for caring. Thank you for helping. Thank you for being human when the world wanted you to be a monster." The story changes the narrative, changes how people see the East Coast West Coast beef, changes how people see Biggie, not just the king of New York, not just the rapper, not just the rival, but a human being, someone who felt guilt, someone who tried to help, someone who understood that Tupac was more than an enemy, was a son, was a human being, was someone whose mother was grieving, and Biggie helped. Quietly, anonymously, without credit, without recognition, just because it was the right thing to do. Marcus Chin dies in February 2016, 3 months after breaking the secret, 3 months after telling the world about Biggie's donation. He dies knowing he did the right thing, knowing the secret didn't die with him, knowing people understand now. Understand that Christopher Wallace was more than Biggie Smalls, was more than the beef, was someone who cared, who loved, who tried to fix what couldn't be fixed, who tried to help when help was needed, who tried to be human in a world that wanted him to be a villain. That's the story of the $250,000. The story of a secret donation. The story of guilt becoming action. The story of Christopher Wallace trying to help Afeni Shakur without her ever knowing. The story of humanity in the middle of war. The story of compassion in the middle of beef. The story of a gesture that stayed hidden for 18 years until a dying man decided the world needed to know, needed to understand, needed to see that even in the darkest moments of hip-hop history, there was still light, still love, still someone trying to do the right thing, even if nobody knew, especially if nobody knew. That was Biggie. That was Christopher. That was the man behind the myth, the human behind the rapper, the person who cared enough to send $250,000 to his enemy's family and never tell a soul.